Hello, guess who and guess what? Well, the guess who is me again, Robbie Susan Chandler, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Quincy, Florida, right outside Tallahassee, Florida. I hold classes in my home, so if you live in the area, I'd love for you to come over and join me for a class. So now let's get to the what. Oh, you're going to love this card today. It's an easel card. This is the front when it's flat, and then it stands up like that. Isn't this beautiful? And this is that ever so popular Sunflower Embossing Folder. And at the end of the video, I'm going to show you some more examples of some cards made with this folder. But right now, let's get started on this card. Alrighty, the base, Balmy Blue, 11 by 4 1/4. Now you're going to score it in the middle at 5 1/2, but then you're going to score it again at 2 3/4 and make sure you fold it under like that. So you've got kind of a tent there. So this is your base, 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2, 2 3/4. The next layer, which we're going to put on towards the end, is another Balmy Blue piece, and it's the same size of a standard card. It's 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. And on top of this piece, we're going to put a piece of Lemon Lolly, and it's 4 by 5 1/4. Now you notice the middle's cut out? That's because I cut this piece that we're using for a sentiment out of the middle. And that piece was cut with my favorite dies these days. Let me bring them over. The Textured Notes dies. And I used this one, and see it just laid right there, cut out beautifully. Look at this design. I also cut a white one to put, and I didn't put it on mine, I'm going to put under here so you'll have somewhere to sign your name. And I cut it with this one, and see it's an entirely different design. And then the sentiments on the even smaller one, and it's a different design. That's what I like about these. I think there's like 9 of them in the set, and I'm all the time using this largest one for the inside of cards. So remember, Textured Notes dies. If you don't have this set, you're going to want to get this one. So let's get that out of the way. Okay, done that. We've talked about these, and I was going to show you too, I stamped that It's Your Day from the Coneflower Celebration, which is the set we're going to be using today, and it's in Balmy Blue. So that's where the sentiment came from. Okay, back over here. So we have these two pieces, and let me move these, and they're just adhered one on top of the other, just like that. Nothing special. So that's your step one. Now our next piece is a piece of basic white that's 5 by 3 3/4. This is the piece we're going to emboss, but let me show you the side we're going to use. Here's the side we're using. Look at that. Isn't that just gorgeous? Let me show you how we did that. You're going to take your Sunflower Embossing Folder, and you see I have gray plate written here. We actually sell this plate called Specialty Plate. It's plate number 4, and it's our gray plate. And you have to use these two together with just your platform when you use these thick embossing folders. So if you don't have that one, you're going to want it. If you're wondering why your embossing folders won't go through, or you have trouble getting them through, it's because you don't have that gray plate. So what I did, let me move this, I just opened this up, and I felt for the side that was the part that didn't have the leaves and flowers was raised, and it's this side that has Stampin' Up! On it. Excuse me. And I took my ink pad and just put ink all over it, everywhere, and I decided I liked this corner up here. Now when you lay your paper down, you want to lay it on this side and bring it over where the ink is so you won't get ink everywhere. And then I just ran it through and got this beautiful design. Now my ink pad was starting to get a little dim. It needed re-inking, but I liked this soft look, so I decided to leave it like this. Now let's see what we're going to do with this. Let's start with the sunflower centers, and I'm just going to do part of this one. So basically I just did a little darkness in the center of these, and it's kind of hard to hit this one right here without hitting everything, just a little there. Alright, now that was done with pecan pie, and then to cover the rest of that center, I used crumb cake and just kind of swirled in a circle. Like I said, you don't want it, in this case, real dark. Now you might like yours real dark, you know, that's your preference. I just decided to keep this one softer looking. Alright, so there's our center, and that's crumb cake. Now I'm going to go to the leaves next. And the leaves are done in Granny Apple Green. And just take your dauber, I'll do this big one over here. And you just kind of want to just swipe it on there. This is not an exact science, it's just a little bit of just taking these daubers and just doing a little swiping here and there. Let's see, here's another one. If I do most of this here now, I won't have to do it later, will I? And then here's a group over here. Alright, I think that pretty well covers all the leaves. There aren't a whole lot of leaves on the section that I picked. So there are the leaves. Isn't that pretty? It really makes the leaves pop out. Now here's where you have a choice. Originally I started out using Lemon Lolly, and then I came back with the darker Daffodil Delight. And you get a much darker look. But what I did with the one that I'm going to use today is I only did Lemon Lolly. And look at that. See how soft and pretty that is? But I'm going to do a little bit of this one with the darker so you can see the difference. So let's take this one down here. So what I did, I just lightly brushed Lemon Lolly around just to kind of give it maybe the cover up the blue. And then let's do this one over here. You know, I'm going to just keep going. I can tell already. It's like, when is she going to stop? Maybe she'll stop now. Yeah, I'll stop now. All right, so that's a Lemon Lolly. And see, that's pretty just like that. And you could just stop right there. But, and I just lost my dauber. It started rolling across the room. Let me grab it. Got it, got it. It rolled under my cutting machine. Okay, now this is Daffodil Delight. So if you come back with Daffodil Delight, or you could totally eliminate Lemon Lolly and just use Daffodil Delight, you're going to get a much darker flower. See that? So it depends upon how dark you want your sunflower to be. And it really makes a lot of difference. I'm going to bring the other one over. Let me turn it this way. Alright, you see the difference in this flower and this one? So that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of difference when you do both colors or just the Daffodil Delight. So it's your preference. Now my sample, I actually used the Daffodil Delight. And you see how dark it is? This is the one I'm going to do today that's lighter. I just decided to go with the soft look. Okay, so now that we have that done, we're actually going to adhere that piece to this. So these three just go down flat like that. I'll go back and do my sunflower later. Now when you get to your base, and I've already glued this part inside, these are both dimensionals because you want this a little higher because it's your what I call stopper that's going to make your card stand up. So make sure you put both of these on dimensionals. So I'm going to just adhere this. Now here's the secret. You only want your glue on this bottom half of the fold where it's folded, the 2 3/4 only, and don't try to put it on the back of the big piece, but just put it right here in that section. Alright, I want this up. So you just match the edges up, lay it on there, and it should just be a perfect front just like that. Alright, I'm going to let that lay over here and dry for a minute while we talk about all the pieces of the coneflower. Alright, I'm just going to bring the whole thing over here and show you. It's called Coneflower Celebrations. Alright, we have a stem. We have 2 pieces to each leaf. One is the base underneath, and then the other one is the piece that goes on top. Like that. Make sure you get them matched up. And I have 2 of those already put together. Of course I do. And they look like this when you get them put together. And then we have the top of the coneflower. And I cut 2. One out of Daffodil Delight, one out of Lemon Lolly. And what I did, I took my Daffodil Delight dauber and just pulled it down a little bit from the top So I wanted just a little bit of color up there around that top edge. Let me show you. Let's see, just a little bit of color there. Let me bring it up some so it'll reach that center. And then when I got ready to glue these together, oh, wait a minute, I want to show you this. I curled like this one under a little bit, this one up, this one under. I like my flowers to have some dimension. If you just leave it all the same, it just doesn't quite have the same look. So see how they look a little more alive, I guess is a word. And see, these are all the dies that you use for all of these, so I'm going to set them out of the way. And I did want to show you that the center of the flower up here, I took pecan pie and just rubbed a little bit across that to give that a little dimension too. Alright, so to glue these together, what I did, I put the lemon lolly on the bottom, and I offset them because I wanted the bottom petals to show. So let's see how I want to do it. How about like that? So see, my yellow ones are peeking through, just like that. Now this is going to be a little bit off up here, and I put this on with dimensionals. And if it shows too much, you can trim it. Whoa, what are you doing? Look at there. My flower has come alive and it's moving around on me. Alright, let's go back. Maybe my glue will be a little more set now. I want it to show a little bit more in between. Everything's sticking to me. And now it's really sticking. There we go. Alright. Stay. Now if this ends up showing, let's see if it's going to. No, it's not bad. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and go with this. So you just stick this on, and there's your flower, and you can fluff it up. Excuse me, and I have another one made here. So let's put this part on first. I kind of aimed it up that direction. And I put a few dimensionals on the stem because I wanted all this to kind of pop since it was so pretty. And just kind of let it, stick it under there and let it flow down like that. And then let's put some leaves on. And I'm going to put one off on this side like this. Whoops, there's a backing. One over here. Now, I don't want it to go off my card, so let's aim it up a little bit more. And then we're going to put the other one on the other side. And we have one more thing we want to add. It's the bow. Let's see, I think I'll make that one come up a little bit more than the other one. Alright, so I just tied a bow out of lemon lolly ribbon. And I like to put my glue dots on the two tails that come down in the knot, just to help it stay. Let's see, where's a good place for this one? I think I want to go up closer to the flower on this one. And then just bring these down like that. And if they're a little long, you can trim them off. But there we go. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I love this card. Oh, and I promised you I'd show you some more examples, didn't I? Okay, some of my team members did some for swaps. But I also did this one for my last class, so there's a video on this one if you want to go out and hunt it somewhere. But this was an entirely different technique where we embossed it and then we colored it and swiped the ink across it. We didn't put the ink on the embossing folder, we put the ink straight on here. But yeah, go find that video. If I think about it, I'll give you a link down there. Now here's an entirely different idea where you can just cut, got two stuck together, you can cut the sunflower out and lay it on top of the embossed piece. Isn't that pretty? And then here's one that the ink was applied to the embossing folder and then we ran it through and it's upside down. There you go. Just put birthday wishes inside. And then this one was basic gray with the white ink swiped across it. And look what she did to the envelope. Now isn't that a cool idea? That's really pretty. And then here's another one by the same lady, and she used black this time and swiped white ink across it. Entirely different look. And then she put a little piece on the inside. So there's some more ideas you can do with this embossing folder. It's been very popular and so much you can do with it. So I hope you enjoyed my video. Please like it, please subscribe, please share it. And I have links to the products I use below. If you need a demonstrator, I'd like to be your demonstrator. If you'd like to be on a team, I'd love to be your team leader. So until next time, happy crafting.